Hi, my friends. Welcome to my Javascript tutorial, and this is grammar and types topic, and the subtopic will be declarations. And we are in the declarations. We're processing variable scope. This 1.1.4. All right. So let's talk about variable scope. What it is. So a variable may belong to one of the following scopes. All right. So what it means, we have global scope, module scope, and function scope. For global scope, we can say the default scope for all code running in script made. So the other one is module scope, the scope for code running in a module type, so module mode. And the function scope is the scope created with a function. So in addition, we can say variables declared with let or const can belong to an additional scope, right? So what it is, like we're talking about block scope. Let's explain that a little bit. All right. So I can say block scope for the first, right? Then we continue. So we have global module function and block scope. This four state, right? So let me just give you some example about let and const, how to use it, because let and const declarations can also be used as scope to the block statement that they are declared in. All right. Okay. Let me give you an example. Let's say if, by the way, firstly we can say, yeah, we don't need to say anything. I will just use some example in here. This is math library, and we can use random, and we can just say if it is this is the function, by the way, in the scope, right? So we can say if it is bigger than 0.5, right? Yeah, do something else, but with what? With const y, for example, right? So in this case we can say it is, so it will be 5, output will be 5 if it is like that, right? So we can say console.log, and we can say y. So let me show you this example how it works in here. So exactly, I can run this code file. All right, where is it? Yes, here. It says 5. If we do it again, so let's run it in here. It says nothing because, yeah, so I think it's not greater than 0.5 in this case. What do you think if we say else statement, right, like that, and we can say const y, or let's say return. Can we use it in here? Do you think so? Return y, for example. What do you think? So what if we run that like that? What will happen in here in this case? So let's run that. All right, return voice doesn't work because it is not way to use that. Okay, let's use console.log. As you know, in general, just say why. We don't need to say more than this. So what will happen in this case if it is greater than something? What it's saying, I is not defined. Y is not defined. Why? Because we just use in here. We need to create another one. Also, let's say we can say for that it's x, and we can say it is 7 in this case, or 1. Like, okay, let's measure it in some cases. Just change it to, all right. So when you run that, it will give you 5 or 1, what it is. Yeah, in this case, it is 5. If you run that again, still 5. Let's run it again. It says 5. So, because in this case we are looking random is greater than 0.5. In this case it must be less than 1, right? So when you run that, see, yeah, it works and it says 1. So what we are doing in here, exactly, we created y variable in here, right? This is the scope variable. So in this case, if you say const y is 7, if you say const will be 5, let's run that and see what will happen. It says 5. So it's just displaying out that one, right? Because we set const y. Well, if we delete that, what will happen? What you think? It will not work. It will give error. And you will see the error message in here, right? It says assignment to constant variable because, guys, it doesn't work like that, okay? It must be new variable. For example, you can say const. Okay, in this case, this const y is different guy in here, and this one is different guy because they are two different things, and they're in two different places. So one of them in the block statement, the other one is in the regular way. So I hope you understand what I mean, right? Even if you say for const x, it will be same. But if you run that out of that, you'll see the 7 for const because it will work for that one after this one. I mean, it will just give something like that. Yeah, 5 and 7 because this place works and the out of the scope it works. Okay, out of the scope we can do something else with it. But in a scope, so before assign anything we can't change in the block scope, so that's const works for the things. Okay, const is something special that you can use in the block scope. You can't use without block scope because it will give you a lot of errors and it will affect your program. So yeah, you can work like that, you can just show output, but uh, generally people using let for this point, so they are using const and let in the if statements and for the function and whatever else they're using. Okay, let's do same thing for the let. What will happen? What do you think? So let's change only let const this guys, okay? So right, yeah, everything same and yeah, here. So what will happen? So when you run that, look, all right, it says 1 7. Okay, else statement works and the out this one. So okay, now what I'm gonna do, I just delete this first one and I just doing like that and see the result of what's going to happen here. Okay, when you run that, it will give you that output. Yes, what it says. Is this something? Yeah, 1 and 7. Did you see that? We changed let. So, but const, it doesn't work, right? So const is something that you can't change it out of it. So by the way, what's happening here? All right, yeah, I fixed it. I mean, so guys, you can just use this one in here to change something else. In this case, as you see, we didn't use let before that, right? And it works. But if you use const, in some cases it gives you error. This is something that we don't want it, right? We don't want it. Yeah, when you run that, things will work efficiently, so everything will be nice. So let's talk about var. As you see, we changed let and we did something with const. So what about var? Var is something global that we're using for a while. I mean, if you didn't put here var, it doesn't matter. It will just change it, okay? And it will work also output like that. So let's run that and see the result. Yeah, it says 5 and 5. I think this point works. But 7 is not changed. 7 is that didn't work in here. So, but we put there also this one. As you see, Y is like animal 7. I mean, it is 5. So what it means, we change it in here, Y, and Y works for the outside same. So this is really amazing point that you need to understand because yeah, as you see, it works now as a 7. So when you run that again, because we're thinking about this one, right? Why? The first one is 7 always in here. Yeah, as you see, it is 7 and it is 1. It is some confusing point for you, maybe, right? Yeah, when you run that, it will say 5 and 5. So why it's saying 5 and 5? How it works like a 5 and 5? Because we just put in here and var has to change and this is out of the box. So out of the scope that mustn't be there, right? So what do you think about it? It is different, guy, and the other one is different things that we're using. But what do you think about it? Do you think it is something programmatical or not? So when you run that, it says again 5 and 5. What do you think? We do same thing, for example, for x. X in this case is 1. And what will happen after we run that? All right, what it says console log. All right, so we need to change it to the X because it's not anymore there. The block scope is works in different way. Let's see what will happen. It's 5 and 7. So why it says 5 and 7? X is in else and it didn't work for that everything stable, right? When it's less than 5, 0.5, then what will happen? Y will be 5. Sorry. X will be 1. So as you see, X is not 1 because it's greater than something and it gives normal value of the X. I think you understand. So var is something that we can use in same way and we can change it, but out of the box it will be like look like a 7. Okay? I hope you understand it. So even if you didn't put anything, so like a console.log, it will say reference error, why is not defined? Because you need to define it first. So yeah, this is something you can use for a while. Even if you try the other things, it will work in the same way. So if you say if true something, do something else. And in this case, it will give you a result. So the other topic will be variable hoisting. So let me just tag it. All right, I'm sorry. I can come here, go down a little bit. All right. The topic was the uh, variable scope, right? Yeah, declaration, sorry, variable hoisting. Variable hoisting. Yeah, it will be another topic, guys. And it will be point not four, it will be firefighting, yeah. So we already proceed this one. So maybe we can put it there too, like that. Oh, right, it's already near declaration variable scope. And it will be 1.1.5 grammar and types declaration variable hoisting. Sorry, by the way, this one I will use later. Yeah, I don't need to do anything. So just I can put here variable hoisting. Sorry for the mistake. Yeah. So I hope you understand what is var, lat, and const. See you in another class. The next class will be about variable hoisting, and you will learn a lot about that. Thank you so much for coming. See you there, guys. Thank you.